Greetings, hi, hello. I'm sorry if this sounds off. I'm not used to using this, but I'm trying to get my content to be a little bit more up there, you know what I mean? So today is the very first video, and I have no idea how long this series is going to go, but it's going to be connected to a playlist, and this is how the things that I've learned as a medium and progressing my own ability within the past like 2 to 3 years. Um, Actually, it's been about two. Technically, this year is the second year because I officially came out online last year as a medium. So here we go. Buckle up. So before I get into this, I am going to go and slightly talk about what the clairs are because that's what 98% of the people automatically go to when you hear psychic or medium. So let's get into this. First, I'm going to look up the definition of a medium, and then I'm going to look up the definition of a psychic, then we're going to get on the list. What is the definition of a medium?
Here's the definition of medium: an agency or means of doing something.
No. No. Okay. Psychic medium definition.
According to Wikipedia, mediumship is the pseudoscientific practice of mediating communication between familiar spirits or spirits of the dead and living human beings.
An easier way to say that are we are the conduits between the living and the dead. I repeat, we are the conduits and the meeting point between the living and the dead. And or past, present, and future self. There's no way in hell I would be able to even fucking remember that definition. So from now on, you ask me what a medium is, you are a conduit between life and death. You're a meeting point. Simple as that. Why we gotta... Cannot stand when shit's like so complicated. Simple. Conduit. Anyways. Sorry about that. Okay. What is the definition of a psychic? A psychic is a person who claims to use the powers... Oh, I hate when they... I fucking stop using the term power. This is not charmed. Ability. Use ability rooted in the parapsychiatry such as extreme perception ESP to identify information hidden from the normal sense, particularly involving telepathy, clairvoyance, or who performs acts that are apparently imperceptible by the natural law such as psychokinesis. In that definition, sweetie, that means any witch is a psychic. We're just going to act like I didn't just say that and continue. This is going to be a fun video. All right. Okay, so again, Google, stop using... Anyways, I'm going to go down a brief list of what clairs are, okay, with a brief definition until there are specific things that I can do, and then we're just going to... This is going to be way more easier than most people think it is. So, clairvoyance, it is clear sense of a vision, i.e. second sight, or psychic sight. This also theoretically falls into having what I call second sight and or, there's a technical term for it, and I can never fucking, but basically you're projecting your sight outside of your own brain. These are the people that the CIA worked with, all of that. Biolocation, something like that. Yeah, that's that, okay? There's more to that, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Anyways, basically, if you are clairvoyant, you may have had vivid psychic dreams where you saw phenomena or saw premonition, sense from a scene from the future that came true, or a dead relative who came to visit you. Clairvoyances often manifest like projector screens that get pulled down in front of you and plays a movie of the past, future, and or even of the blue when you finally awaken during your meditation. You're going to hear that term a lot in this meditation. Not everybody is right for meditation, okay? Not the fact that meditation is not right for you. You are not right for meditation, as in you don't need it, okay? We need to stop looking at ourselves, even in the psychic magical community, like the fucking public schools here in America looked at us. Like we were all just fucking robots and we all learn the same. We don't. I'm neurospicy as fuck. Yes, there are certain things that I will do with meditation and or there are certain times that call for meditation. But you advancing your abilities, you do not necessarily need to meditate. And we're going to get into that a little bit later as well. Anyways, But basically, you would see things, and I do like the projector thing because that is kind of what we are, but also conduit. We're just the meeting points and the translators to the dead. That's what we are. We are translators of the dead, okay? Because we all are going to sense things and see things and interpret that information, but it's up to us to be able to interpret what spirit gives to us and to be able to translate that to where another human could understand it. Voila. Anyways, um, clairgustance is the clear sense of taste, i.e., being able to orally detect psychic information. That's gotta suck. But at the same time, I think we all have that. Again, everything on this list we all have. Like, all the equipment is in our body. It's just some things are more active or honed in than others, okay? So think of it like a radio. You have FM and AM, but you don't always use FM. You may sometimes use AM or vice versa, okay? I don't know your life. Anyways, so with this one right here, have you ever like scrolled through a cooking show and you could taste it, your mouth starts to water, but you could literally taste it in like indisectibly the ingredients? Yes. Now you're like, well, Lotus, how the fuck would that transpire into somebody coming to you for a psychic read? You may taste specific things that your loved ones or that loved one experience, like smoking a cigarette, and even though you've never smoked a cigarette a day in your life. Um, Tasting almost, when you like spray yourself with perfume or cologne and it slightly gets like you inhale it in and you can taste it, like that. That's the easiest way that I can describe it, like that. Again, we all have these. Clara Clairsilence. I said that wrong. It's the clear sense of smell. We've all detected this, and normally, if you have an ancestor or a loved one who visits you, normally that's how it kicks in first. Because a lot of the times, not always, most people think we just see them. No, a lot of the times it's just like, imagine your granny coming in your house and spraying her perfume right in front of you, but as a ghost. That's basically what this is. When I first started to awaken, also, if you hear any background noise, I'm sorry, my partner's playing the game. Um, but when I first expanded this, because, and I'm going to get into this too after I get through with this list, but that was my very, in recent times, as in, we'll say the past 5 years, when I started all of this online stuff, and again, I'll get into it, that's what I experienced first. It was vanilla, like tobacco smoke, which we don't have anything like that in the house. And then it was like the really, really dark, rich, fresh brewed black coffee. Um, Specifically though, like how Fraser's and there's another coffee brand, how they used to smell back in the 80s and 90s that they don't smell anymore, like that. Anyways, so yeah, you can smell things. Clairaudience is the clear sense of hearing, i.e., being able to detect psychic information through the ears. We've all experienced this too. Have you ever been by yourself and all of a sudden it heard like your mother was calling your name? Nobody was at home? Yeah. No, am I explaining what that is? No, that could be a mimic, that could be a spirit, it could be a trickster, it could be a number of things. Um, but yeah, so super hearing. Ah. And then we have claircognizance, which is what I have, which is a clear. Okay, again, I'm gonna say which is what I have. What I mean by that are these are the main ones that I use, because again, we all have these. Claircognizance is a clear sense of knowing, i.e., psychic insight. Have you ever just known something that was going to happen without knowing why? You were probably experiencing claircognizance. The name of this psychic sense is widely publicated, even though it is accepted under other juries, such as mother's intuition, for an example. This is what everybody experiences, but there are so many other different terms for it, like, oh, that's just your instinct. Yeah, it's your psychic instinct. It's your spidey sense, tingling, okay? But again, and like that saying, if you've seen it, you may have heard it too, like, nobody really is arguing that if this is real or not, but we're always arguing the name, whether that's magic, Christian faith, whatever. You get what I'm saying? We all know it's real. It's just a lot of people are very uncomfortable thinking that it's some type of supernatural sense. And it's not. It's a normal sense. It's just extremely heightened. Anyways. And also with clairsentience, it's also like somebody asks you a random question, knowing you know nothing about it, and you just say the right answer all the time. Yeah. Another way would be, hmm. Oh, you're talking to someone, a subject comes up, you've never once read about it, studied it, or anything like that, but you know exactly everything. I call it spirit word vomit, because, and it's so weird too because you don't know when you're accessing it. But it's key. It will play a key thing in this, and there's another word that's going to come up a lot, which is confidence, and I'm going to explain that more once I get through with this list. We're already at 10 minutes, so let's chug through. You have clairipathiates. It is the clear sense of an emotional feeling, i.e., being able to detect psychic information through your emotions and/or other people's emotions. And you're like, Lotus, that's an empath. We don't use that term anymore. We're going to start using the term psychonioto. Okay. If you don't know what that is, scroll on my YouTube page and you'll find a TikTok video of a duet and me and another creator, Reindeer. Absolutely love them. They created the word. Literally created a word because we were all tired of hearing the term empath. Okay, because it's been used so much that it no longer holds standard. Um, and then we have clairtangents. It is the clear sense of touch. I'm saying these wrong. I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic. It is being able to detect psychic information through your hands. So a lot of the times, if you've ever seen a psychic or medium work with the detectives and things like that, that's one of the main things that they could use. And that is basically when somebody can hand you an object and you can literally feel and sense the history of that object. What I mean by that is, so what are we, right? We conduct energy, we conduct emotions, right? And there is a concept that we also leave impressions in that, right? So when it comes to hauntings, there's a specific type of haunting where it's not really part of the spirit as much as it's an echo in time, basically, that replays over and over again. If you live here in Florida, and or if you live anywhere that has oh my god, brain. Limestone was what I was trying to think. My brain just went delete. Limestone, it is believed that it can store and release energy over time, so you can have oppression. In a way, I think that's the right word. But basically, it's non-residual, which means that it's not necessarily like the spirit itself reacting itself as much as they believe that it's just a imprint that periodically repeats over and over again on a loop. Um, why I brought that up, I have no idea. Oh yeah, Florida. um, but yeah, it's the touch, and I've had a few episodes where I've been able to do it. I don't really like it because it's very weird. But imagine if you could walk through and just touch something and see every single owner that it's ever had. That's why I was bringing that up. So we give off energy, and some people believe that we can leave off impressions. And specifically, depending on how we die, is the impression that could be laid down. A lot of people speculate that some of the spiritual energy at Gettysburg is not necessarily those spirits trapped in a loop as much as it's just an impression left behind. Although they do have some ghosts and spirits that will interact with you. Anyways, let's get back to the program here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went over them all. Okay, so I feel like I've missed a cue. Anyways, those are your psychic abilities. Now, what does that have to do with this and how do I activate them, Lotus? Well, I'm glad you asked. And yes, you may see a cigarette in my hand. Normally, I would not smoke in a video, but my vape's dead. So, I what started all of this, right? At the very beginning, I used to hang out at a magic shop or crystal shop, consignment shop in Gainesville, Florida. Also, shout out to Blue Crystal. If you're around the area, please go check them out. They're amazing. And I got my first technical psychic radium mead. Psychic radium. Uh, that still sounds weird. Anyways, dyslexic moment. So they basically told me that spirits are waiting for me. I just have to tell them and show them that I'm open and ready to receive their messages. And y'all, that is all it took. Because after that, I started smelling things that reminded me of my pawpaw, my Aunt May, my aunt. and so forth and so on, right? So what I did over the course of that time is I started what I call, it needs a rename, spiritual 30-day challenge. So for 30 days, you take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day. It can be anything, whatever the time is. 5 or 10 minutes. I normally do it not every morning. I wish I could say that. I used to, but I got to get back into it. When I had my coffee, I would just sit down and I would talk. Like you had a room full of your ancestors, like they were standing directly in front of you. And you just talk. What that's doing is, for one, it's showing them that you're actually wanting to commit to this. But most importantly, it's starting to tap into your ability, whether you feel it or not. But it's also creating a line of communication between you and your spirit team. Spirit team would be spirit guides and ancestors. Yes, deity, if you are a practitioner, is in with that as well. And once you do start this and you get into it, remember though, if you do start it, it's not a chore. You're going to miss some days, okay? We live in a fucking crazy world out there, and it is hella fucked up. Spirits know that too, okay? But specifically, just like you would do in a daily practice, do it. And over the course of those 30 days, your spirit team's going to figure out what messages and how to send them to you, and you're going to figure out how to interpret them. Now, before you get into this, everything that goes bump in the night, every single thing, a leaf randomly falling in front of you right after you ask a question, it does not mean that it is a sign. You will know when spirit gives you a sign. It's going to be different, but with me, this entire side of my body will go full-on goosebumps. This side will be normal. Normally, that means either A, spirit has stepped in, or B, I am speaking spirit truth. What I mean by I am speaking spiritual truth is the information that is flowing out of my mouth is directly from spirit. Do I always know what spirit? No. Are there some spirits that will come through and will not give me any information of who they are? Yes. Yes, they will. So that's the baseline way to start, okay? Do not go into this thinking that if you do not get a sign within a few days, you did it wrong. Don't, because you're going to fail before you begin. Now, that is specifically how to start connecting with spirit, because first you're going to connect with your ancestors. Most questions I get, what if I don't know my ancestors, and what if I don't want to know them? If for any reason you have any type of trauma connected to an ancestor, they will not come through because your other family members or ancestors will prevent them. Secondly, what if I was adopted? What if I don't know? It's okay. They know who you are. Okay? They have been watching you your entire life. Y'all, when I tell you, spirit is all around you without being all around you. Omnipresent. There we go. I was about to ask my partner that. Omnipresent. Think of a spirit as omnipresent. What I mean by this is when you need them, they could show up and they may not. They have a life in the afterlife, y'all. But what I mean by that is when I say that they're all around you all the time, I'm not meaning that they're constantly just standing around you and they don't give you any privacy. That's not what I mean. They will chime in or check in from time to time. And a lot of the times, normally though, it's like when you think of them, it automatically opens up this connection. Whether they're right there with you or halfway across the world or some other part of the spiritual world, they sense, they hear, they know. Okay? Now, with that being said, it is healthy to set boundaries. Now, if you start researching psychic abilities and mediums and things like this, you're going to hear like, I have my downtime. That is important. What I mean by that is, does that mean that I am active openly to spirit? No. Specifically, how I've worked with spirit is my readings. And I'm not comfortable going up to a complete stranger and say, hey, your grandmother wants me to tell you that you need to stop fucking around with that guy you're fucking around with, and you also need to start worrying about your own fucking responsibilities, and also there's some secret up under your bed in a box. I would look completely fucking crazy. No. You're going to figure out your way. Now, with that being said, most people ask, okay, well, I want to embrace my psychic and mediums, but I don't want to read people. Like that. You don't have to. Okay? Now, that's going to be the first. I'm planning on literally, there should be 2 videos, which will be the second part to this one, after this one. So that's the baseline of what these videos are going to be about. I'm going to try to keep them as short, anywhere from like 10, 20 to 30 minutes long. So welcome to part 2. Welcome to part 1, and click on to part 2.